Number 1. Tyler and Hannah are a couple who love exploring new places. They often travel across the country in their Subaru Crosstrek, camping in remote areas and documenting their adventures along the way. Their videos are carefully filmed and edited, with a level of quality that sometimes makes them feel more like short films than regular travel videos. But not every trip goes as smoothly as planned. During one of their camping trips near Moab, they chose a remote spot where they expected to have some peace and privacy, far away from crowds and everyday problems. Early in the morning, they sent their drone into the air to capture the surrounding landscape, which was beautiful and almost completely empty. While filming, they noticed a man walking in the distance. He was so far away that Tyler and Hannah didn't pay much attention to him. However, the situation changed when the man eventually made his way toward their campsite and confronted them about the drone.
Creeping on you because you're creeping on me while I'm taking my morning walk. Checking me out. I'm just checking out what you got. What you got here?
Sorry.
Liberal.
What?
I said you liberal.
Sir, I'm here with my family.
That's cool. You're creeping on me with the drone. I'm just creeping on you.
No, it's sunrise. I had no idea you were here.
You're out here creeping. I'm out here creeping.
I had no
idea. Do it in person because I'm not a
I had no idea you were here, sir. What?
I said you liberal.
It wasn't like a, what did you just say to me? It was like a, what?
It was so out of pocket, the whole thing, that I couldn't comprehend it. So I'm just like, what? Like, it looks like a scripted office.
Sorry.
What?
I said you liberal.
Sir, I'm here with my family.
That's cool.
I just went into, like, de-escalation mode.
Yeah.
I really wanted to.
Yeah, at one point I loved it. At one point you even called him sir.
Yeah.
You were like, no, sir, we're just here camping with our family. And I was like, okay, good. Tyler's handling the situation well.
Oh, nothing could have prepared me for opening my door and getting called, like, right off the rip in the morning. I just didn't see him at all.
He said you were creeping on him, but, like, it was just him. Like, he didn't have, it's not like you were flying over his campsite or something.
Yeah. And so the good thing is I had no idea he was there for all of my shooting. Was not filming him. He was not in any shots until he started coming up to our private little spot here. I was like, this is really weird. Okay, you can't see us from the road, so he might just not know we're here, and he's used to taking his dog on this walk or something. So I watched him, because you don't approach people's campsites, and it was obvious to me he was beelining straight towards our campsite with some sort of authority. So I was thinking, okay, there's a ranger, we missed a sign somewhere, this isn't a camping area. It obviously is. This is the place you go to disperse camp.
The encounter caught them completely off guard. They had been focused on filming the landscape and hadn't even realized the man was nearby. Tyler immediately tried to keep things calm, especially since his family was with him, rather than turning the situation into an argument. What made the encounter even stranger was how quickly the man became upset. From Tyler's perspective, the drone wasn't following him or recording him specifically. It had been launched simply to capture the scenery, and the man hadn't even appeared in the footage before he approached their campsite. At first, Tyler wondered if the man might have been a ranger or someone who knew they weren't supposed to camp there. The location was a legal dispersed camping area, so there didn't seem to be an obvious reason for the confrontation. The man had apparently been walking along the nearby road and may have simply noticed the drone overhead. The couple later explained that the whole situation felt completely unexpected. They had chosen such a remote location precisely because they wanted to be left alone, yet someone had still approached their campsite and turned a peaceful morning into a tense encounter. There was also a big difference between asking someone not to film you and confronting them aggressively. If the man was genuinely worried about appearing in the footage, he could have simply approached them calmly and explained his concern. Instead, the situation became hostile almost immediately, even though a child was present at the campsite. Thankfully, Tyler and Hannah were prepared to protect themselves if the situation became more serious. Nothing ultimately escalated beyond the confrontation, but the incident was enough to remind them that even extremely remote camping spots aren't always as isolated as they seem. The drone wasn't following the man, and it wasn't flying directly over his campsite. It was being used to capture wide shots of the surrounding landscape. So from their perspective, there was little reason for such an aggressive reaction. As for why the man reacted that way, nobody really knows. He may simply have been annoyed about being recorded, even accidentally. There could have been another reason behind his behavior, but that's impossible to say from the footage alone. Number 2. This encounter comes from Hammock Mountain, a channel known for testing camping gear in unusual and unexpected locations. On August 3, 2026, the creator was searching for a place to camp near a busy town center in the United States.
After looking everywhere and walking all around everywhere and seeing all the crowds and seeing all the spots that are blown that I found before, I came back to an old spot. If you go back a handful of videos, you'll see I done a bridge construction stealth camp. I came probably the closest to being busted that I've ever came to being busted. Well, guess what? The bridge is done. I'm camping under it tonight. Somebody's around. I smell cigarette smoke. So I'm going in with minimal gear. Us people walking across the other bridge. There's the other bridge right up there. Let me show you the new bridge. We'll walk across it. There's the new bridge. It's a pretty bridge.
After looking around several locations and finding most of his usual spots occupied, he decided to return to an area he had used before. A bridge that was still under construction during his previous visit had now been completed, and he chose to camp underneath it for the night. He brought only a small amount of gear and settled into a hidden area beneath the bridge. There were plenty of people nearby, but from his hiding spot, he was almost impossible to notice. That was the whole point of the stealth camp. Things became uncomfortable when he started smelling cigarette smoke nearby. Someone appeared to be in the area, but he couldn't tell exactly where they were.
5 a.m. and I've just been woke up by a bright light from the other end of the bridge. So there's somebody up under that end that was shining a light this way. I don't know if they're coming down this way or not, but they was definitely shining a bright light straight at me. It's 5 a.m. anyway. I was going to get up at 6. I do believe I am going to pack up and head out. Because all they have to do is walk across the bridge and come in right here. I've been sitting here with my hand on my tactical flashlight, waiting for somebody to stick their head under here. 1 hour shy of what I was going to sleep. So I believe I'm leaving an hour early. Because there's no way I can go back to sleep with the possibility that some crackhead's going to stick their head up under here with me.
Around 5 in the morning, he suddenly woke up after a bright light appeared from the opposite end of the bridge. Someone was standing down there and shining a flashlight in his direction. Since the person could easily walk across the bridge and reach his hiding spot, he decided it was better not to take any chances.
I hear him talking, walking across the bridge. It'd be nice to be able to see in the dark. I don't know if you can see me or not, but I don't know where they went. They were on the bridge. All the lights are there. They had a flashlight down there. That light's off. And I heard them on the bridge. I watched him climb out from under that end of the bridge. I just don't want anybody sneaking up behind me while I'm trying to fold this ground sheet up. So just sat real still for just a minute, waiting to see, but I gotta go. They're close.
Hey, don't come in here. I advise you just go the other way.
He had originally planned to sleep for another hour, but there was no way he could relax knowing someone might suddenly appear underneath the bridge. He kept his flashlight close and stayed alert while listening to footsteps and voices nearby. Eventually, he heard someone walking across the bridge. The area was still dark, making it difficult to see exactly where the person had gone. He waited quietly and watched the area before continuing to pack his things. At one point, he saw a person emerge from underneath the opposite side of the bridge. He still couldn't be sure whether there was anyone else nearby, so he remained cautious while folding up his sleeping gear. Then the situation became much more serious. A stranger began moving toward his hiding place. The creator confronted the person before they could get any closer and warned them not to enter the area. The unexpected confrontation appeared to startle the stranger, who quickly backed away and ran off. With someone now aware of his hiding spot, staying there no longer made sense. He carefully finished packing in the darkness, checked around him, and made his way back toward his truck. His stealth camping trip ended about an hour earlier than planned, but leaving was clearly the safer choice. What started as a clever attempt to disappear beneath a busy bridge ended with a stranger unexpectedly finding his hiding place in the middle of the night. Number 3. A woman and her daughter were walking home near a wooded area when they noticed nothing unusual around them. The streets were mostly empty, possibly because of the weather, and everything appeared completely normal. They reached their home, walked up the alley, opened the door, and went inside. What they didn't realize was that someone had been following them the entire time. The disturbing part was captured by their Ring camera.
This is so scary. Watch the guy in the red hat.
A man wearing a black mask could be seen following behind them and using objects along the way to stay hidden. He appeared to be deliberately keeping himself out of their view as they approached their house. Thankfully, the woman and her daughter made it inside, and the door was closed behind them. Had they left it open or failed to lock it, the situation could have become much more dangerous. There is no way to know exactly what the man's intentions were, but following someone while hiding your face and deliberately staying out of sight is extremely concerning. It also shows why it's important to stay aware of your surroundings, even when you're only a few steps from home. The incident is a reminder that danger doesn't always announce itself. Someone can be following you without you ever realizing it, so taking a few extra seconds to check your surroundings and secure your doors can make a major difference. Number 4. Tommy usually travels with his wife as they explore different places and spend time on the road. He's also no stranger to camping in remote areas. But after hearing some strange noises during an earlier trip to the Appalachian Mountains, he decided to return to the area alone and try to figure out what had made them.
Conditions like this that I bought this camera. It is juicy out here today. Pisgah National Forest. With it being foggy like this, it almost feels primordial. Is that the word? 2 or 3 videos back, I was out here by myself at night and caught 4 very distinct whoops. The area I'm in now, I'm almost positive is where I heard them from. The other 2 would have been back over this ridge here. You know, I've done quite a few of these videos at night, and that's great. But I need to come out here during the day to kind of get my bearings about me, so when I am out here at night, I kind of know what to expect around a lot of these places, because I haven't been to them during the day. I've only been at night, which, let's be real, makes it creepier for me along with everybody else. So we're going to stroll along the trail here. Just keep our ears open.
The weather immediately made the trip feel unusual. Thick fog covered the forest, making the surroundings look almost unreal. Visibility was poor, and the trail quickly became difficult to see clearly. Tommy explained that during his previous nighttime visit, he had heard 4 distinct whooping sounds coming from the woods. He believed he was now close to the same area where those sounds had originated. This time, he wanted to explore it during the day so he could understand the terrain better and know what the area looked like before returning at night.
I can hear it hitting the leaves, but it's not really hitting me. Forgot to tell you, as soon as I shut the car off and open the door, right there by where the car is, I heard some big limbs cracking. You know, where they're just breaking limbs. When I say they, I mean just the limbs breaking, because, you know, trees do that. Or is it something telling me to stay away? I don't know, because I'm the only one out here. There are people that come out here and do day hikes and stuff, but I'm alone. And that's one reason I wanted to come out with the weather like it is, because I thought maybe it would be quieter out here. Well, that's been placed there, because that's the bottom of it, and there's nowhere anything broke off. That's not it down there. I was thinking maybe that was the root of it. Let me put my glasses on and we'll see. No, that's a leaf. I'm talking about right down in over in here. I thought maybe that was a stump where it broken off, but it hasn't. Okay, I think it's getting to be that time. The question I have is, why is that laying there when it was obviously placed there? There's nothing down here that would show that that's where it's from. There's no stump down here. So it didn't just fall there. And I'm telling you, as soon as I stepped over it, something back out in this direction whooped. Guess what's down that way? The car. Like, down that way.
As he followed the trail, he kept stopping to listen. He knew there were usually hikers in the area during the day, but the foggy weather meant he was almost completely alone. Not long after arriving, he heard large branches cracking near his vehicle. He initially tried to explain it as a normal sound caused by the trees, but being alone in the forest made it difficult to completely ignore. As he continued walking, he noticed a large piece of wood lying in an unusual position. There didn't seem to be a nearby stump or broken tree that could explain where it had come from. He examined the area more closely, but still couldn't find an obvious reason for it to be there.
I know y'all heard that. I know you heard that. Literally sounds like it's on the trail behind me. Okay, well, let's just, you know what? Why would I want to keep walking this way when I'm hearing whoops down here? I will tell you, I'm a little bit creeped out, knowing that I'm having to walk back where I heard the whoop come from. But I don't feel threatened, but I am creeped out.
Then, as he moved farther along the trail, another whooping sound came from the direction he was heading. The sound was close enough to make him stop and reconsider what he was doing. There was a vehicle somewhere farther down the trail, but he still couldn't determine what was producing the noise. The deeper he went, the more uncomfortable the environment became. The wildlife seemed unusually quiet. The fog continued to hang over the trail, and every unfamiliar sound stood out against the silence. Then he heard another noise that appeared to come from directly behind him. At that point, continuing deeper into the woods didn't seem worth the risk. He was already hearing the same strange type of sound that had brought him back to the area in the first place. Although Tommy didn't feel as though he was in immediate danger, he admitted that the situation was becoming increasingly unsettling. Walking back toward the same area where he had heard the sounds wasn't exactly comforting either. Eventually, he decided to turn around and head back to his vehicle. Whether the sounds came from an animal, another person, or something he simply couldn't identify, he wasn't willing to keep pushing deeper into the forest just to find out. The combination of thick fog, almost complete silence, and repeated unexplained whoops made the entire hike feel wrong. In the end, Tommy chose the safer option and left the area rather than taking the chance that whatever was making those sounds might get closer. Number 5. This fisherman usually spends his trips exploring remote rivers, catching fish, and cooking outdoors. His videos have a relaxed, immersive feel, but one particular trip took a very different turn when he and his friends decided to move to another fishing spot.
So I'm going to start here and fish right in front of me and then fish downstream a little bit. If I get another fish on, but I don't land it, then I'll start using the indicator. Let's do a first cast close. If there's fish, they'll come up and get it too. Come on, baby. And I'm going out to the more fishy area now. Fish on. Oh, bite. Yep, definitely a bite. 100% a bite. I could feel it too. I don't have the indicator, but I'm tight to my line. I'm going to go try to find a spot that's a little bit more open at the very least. Oh man, this is kind of cool. Look at this. Is that man-made? Yeah. No doubt about it, right? Oh yeah. I feel like I'm with an Amazon tracker. Tracker from the Amazon jungle. What's that one guy's name? Jungle Keepers. We're at this new spot in the middle of nowhere, and Jim thinks this is a human bone. I have no degree in bones, but what is this? Dang, if that doesn't look like a human bone, huh?
It does, Joe.
If I touch it, will I get cursed?
Yeah, I don't know. Only one way to find out.
All right. Just to give you a sense of the scale. Huh.
Put it next to your leg.
Would it be...
Other way.
It would be a...
Kneecap. Dude, that looks like a human.
Dang.
I think so. It'd be right here under my kneecap is where it would start. Yeah. Dude, that's a human bone. I'm not even kidding, dude.
Yeah, maybe it'll bring us luck.
Hopefully.
Bad luck or?
While looking for a better place to fish, they came across something unusual on the ground. At first, they weren't sure what they were looking at, but the object appeared to be a bone. After comparing its size and shape with a human leg, they began to suspect that it could actually be a human tibia. They weren't completely certain, so they continued with their fishing trip and eventually headed home. But once they had time to think about what they had found, the possibility started to become more serious. If it really was a human bone, it could have belonged to someone who had disappeared in the area, with their remains later scattered by animals. There was also the possibility that it had been left there deliberately. Eventually, the fishermen decided to report the discovery to the authorities.
You have reached Alberta County Sheriff's Office, non-emergency. Sheriff's Office.
Hi, I was fishing in the South Fork of the American River on Saturday and pretty far out into the river, and I came across what I think is a human tibia, but I'm not sure. I just wanted to report that.
Okay, so you were fishing in the South Fork of the American River?
That's right.
And you think you came across a human tibia?
That's what it looks like. I asked my friend who was an EMT and he's a nurse, and I asked a couple people and they said that that's what it looks like. And I was making a fishing video, so I have it all on camera.
He explained where he had found the bone and mentioned that the entire discovery had been recorded on camera. After reviewing the footage, an officer contacted him and confirmed what they had suspected. The object was in fact a human bone. A few days later, the fisherman was asked to return to the location and show the officer exactly where it had been found. They made their way back into the area, and the bone was collected for further investigation. A case number was also assigned, although no public update has been released since then. The discovery was already disturbing, but the biggest question remained unanswered. Who did the bone belong to, and could it be connected to someone who was still missing? For now, there is no clear answer. What began as an ordinary fishing trip ended with the discovery of something far more serious than anyone expected to find along a remote river. Number 6. In July 2014, a YouTuber known as Rock Moons was camping in Mexico. During his trip, he decided to hike along the Ruta O's trails and brought his camera and tripod with him so he could record the area and take some photos. At first, everything seemed normal. Vehicles appeared to use the trail fairly often, judging by the tire tracks. But one particular truck caught his attention when it drove past him and then came back a second time. That second pass made the situation feel much more suspicious. The hiker decided to take one of his GoPro cameras, start recording, and hide it nearby. What the camera captured was disturbing. The truck eventually stopped beside him, and the people inside took his tripod and backpack. The bag contained a camera and some other belongings. None of the items appeared to be extremely valuable, which made what happened next even more alarming. One of the people in the truck pulled out what appeared to be an AK-47 and used it to intimidate him during the robbery. Being confronted with a rifle while alone in the middle of nowhere is obviously a terrifying situation, regardless of what was being stolen. After the truck left, the hiker returned to his campsite. He later explained that he was lucky to be wearing dark clothing because the person who robbed him apparently didn't notice the hidden GoPro. That small detail may have been what allowed him to keep the footage of the incident. He also contacted local authorities who reportedly told him that hikers had been robbed in the same area before. This suggested that the incident may not have been an isolated case. However, the video also raised some questions. Some viewers believed the footage could have been staged, pointing out that the people involved didn't necessarily look like typical robbers. It's difficult to know what really happened based only on the available footage. The uploader claimed that the original recording was more than 13 minutes long, but he didn't upload the entire video because much of it reportedly showed nothing more than him walking around. Without seeing the complete recording, it's impossible to say with certainty whether everything happened exactly as described. Another interesting detail is that this was one of only 2 videos on his channel. That makes the idea of doing it for YouTube money less convincing, since he didn't appear to have a large audience or an established channel at the time. Whether the footage was completely genuine or not, the situation shown in the recording was unsettling. Hiking alone in a remote area already comes with risks, but encountering armed people who are willing to rob you is a completely different level of danger. Number 7. This encounter comes from Lethal Adventures, a channel that combines wild camping with local legends and nighttime paranormal investigations. On October 31st, 2025, the creator traveled to the Pendle Hill area in the United Kingdom, a place strongly associated with stories of witches and other supernatural legends. Pendle Hill has a dark history.
Lethal Adventures. So we're in Pendle Hill today. Lovely spot. So Pendle is famous for the witches, the Pendle Hill, goblins, demons, you name it. Banshees as well, but Irish folklore later on. So we're just going to walk up to Barley, beautiful little village, and get set up and see what kind of spookiness we can get up to later on. Let's be having these. Some beautiful colours. Gold and orange. This is a statue of Alice Nutter, one of the accused so-called witches. And she is from this village of Roughly. So when they were accused, they were taken to Lancaster Castle and put in the dungeons for months. And then after trial, when they were convicted guilty, they were all hung. Really sad story. Tonight I'm going to go into one of the forests up here and just see what's happening. Because you hear people talk about witches, ghosts, slender men, skinwalkers, UFOs, paranormal activity. It's all right.
Particularly because of the famous Pendle witch trials. During his visit, he explored the nearby village and stopped at a statue of Alice Nutter, one of the women accused during the trials. The accused were taken to Lancaster Castle, where they were held before eventually being convicted and executed. As evening approached, he headed toward the surrounding woodland to spend the night and investigate the area. Local stories connected the region with witches, ghosts, strange creatures, UFO sightings, and other unexplained activity. With so many legends surrounding the area, he was hoping to experience something unusual for himself. After reaching the higher part of the hill, he set up his camp near the trees and prepared some food as darkness settled in. While eating, he also talked about old folklore and stories of banshees and other supernatural figures.
Oh God. I'm scared already. Run the toys! Pew 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 pew. Get. Fuck's that? Oh, that scared me.
Once night fully arrived, the atmosphere changed. He entered the forest with very little light, and the darkness made it difficult to see more than a short distance ahead. Not long after entering, strange sounds began coming from the surrounding trees. At first, the noises were difficult to identify. He stopped several times and tried to work out where they were coming from, but the darkness made it almost impossible to tell what was nearby. The deeper he went, the more uncomfortable he became. Rustling sounds continued around him, and at one point something startled him badly enough to make him stop in his tracks. Eventually, the tension became too much. He was alone in a completely dark forest, surrounded by unfamiliar sounds with no clear idea of what was causing them. Whatever the explanation was, he decided that staying there wasn't worth the risk. His investigation was effectively cut short, and he made his way back instead of pushing deeper into the woods. There was no clear proof that anything supernatural had happened, but the combination of the area's disturbing history, complete darkness, and unexplained noises made the experience genuinely unsettling. Sometimes, you don't need to see a ghost to feel like something is wrong. Being alone in an isolated forest at night, especially one surrounded by centuries of frightening stories, can be enough to make even ordinary sounds feel terrifying. Number 8. Sam is an experienced outdoor enthusiast who enjoys stealth camping in unusual places. He's camped in some pretty unexpected locations before, but during one trip along the Allegheny River, he experienced something that genuinely frightened him. It was early November, with cold temperatures and light rain coming and going throughout the day. Sam was staying on a piece of property he was considering buying. He had dreamed of owning land along the river for years.
2 days of November, it's like 42 degrees and sprinkling on and off today. We're here on the banks of the Allegheny River, and I have to decide if I want to buy this property or not. They have accepted my offer. Well, not formally, but they said they would accept it if I want to move forward. So don't tell them, but I'm going to camp here tonight and see if this feels like home. So we're going to camp here tonight, and I'm going to decide if this is going to be the land that I've been looking to purchase along the Allegheny River for the last 15 years. That's been my dream, and we're gonna see if I want to make that dream a reality now or wait for something better. That says it all. Beautiful fall day. The time has now changed, so the days are short. I'd say about 80% of the leaves are off the trees. Look at this view from this property though, the beautiful Allegheny.
So he decided to spend a night there before making his final decision. During the afternoon, everything seemed peaceful. The fall scenery was beautiful, and the property offered a great view of the river. But once the sun disappeared and darkness settled over the area, the peaceful atmosphere changed completely.
There's a really up noise coming from the woods right now. It sounds like a woman screaming. I was sitting in my front seat with the heated seat on, warming up. It's been dark for a long time now, and it sounds like a woman screaming bloody murder. Listen. Literally, I'm freaking out right now. I don't know what the hell that was, but that has me absolutely terrified. I'm not lying. Literally, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't know what that was. It literally sounded. Hang on, let me get. I feel like I'm being watched right now. This isn't even funny. I was on the phone. Okay, let me get in here and I'm gonna lock these doors. And okay, hang on a second. It sounded like somebody was screaming bloody murder. It sounded like a human. It sounded like a woman was being tortured or beaten. I was on the phone with Jessica and I kept hearing it. And I opened my door and it got more severe, like it was more blood curdling. And I literally told her, as I'm picking up the camera, start recording, I said, let me call you right back. And I opened the door and it was really loud and it sounded really close. Hello? Are you okay? Are you okay?
While sitting inside his vehicle, Sam suddenly heard a strange noise coming from the woods. At first, he couldn't figure out what it was, but it sounded disturbingly similar to a woman screaming. The sound continued, and the more he listened, the more convinced he became that it sounded human. He was so unsettled that he locked the doors and stayed inside his vehicle, unsure whether someone nearby was actually in danger. The screams became louder and seemed to come from somewhere close to the property. Sam eventually stepped outside to listen more carefully, but that only made the situation more frightening. He couldn't see anyone in the darkness, yet the sound continued coming from the direction of the woods. At that point, he decided he didn't want to remain there overnight. While packing his things, he couldn't stop wondering whether the screams had actually come from a person who needed help. Instead of simply leaving and ignoring what he had heard, Sam contacted the authorities and reported the incident. He explained that he had been camping in a remote area and had heard what sounded like a woman repeatedly screaming in distress. Officers arranged to meet him and have him show them the general area where the sounds had come from. Sam remained nearby with his lights on while waiting for them to arrive. There was, however, another possible explanation for what he heard.
I don't have the exact address. I'm in. Yeah, hi. I'm out in. I was out camping and I heard, I believe it was a woman screaming in great distress.
So where are you, Sam?
I drove back.
Road. How far did you travel?
Probably a mile and maybe a little more.
Okay, and then you heard yelling coming from the Allegheny Rivers there. Do you think somebody along the riverbank?
I don't know. It sounded up, and I was on the phone with my wife with the windows up and the heat on, and I heard a woman screaming. And then I turned the heat up.
What was she screaming?
Just bloody murder.
Okay, so I guess what we're going to do is we're going to meet you. You're at the. We'll send somebody down to speak with you, then you can show them where you were. Okay?
Okay. I appreciate it.
Right.
Thanks. This is the first road right there on the right. There's a property for sale. I'm truck camping up there because I'm supposed to run this month. I want to buy it, and I all of a sudden heard this blood curdling scream like 50 times. That's fine. I'm just going to stay here with my light.
Some wild animals can produce incredibly human-like sounds, and mountain lions are often mentioned because their calls can sound surprisingly similar to a person screaming. Still, there was no way for Sam to know what had caused the noise at the time. In a remote area at night, assuming it was only an animal could have been a serious mistake if someone really was in trouble. That's why contacting the authorities was the safest decision. They could investigate the area while Sam stayed out of harm's way. We may never know exactly what produced those terrifying sounds. It could have been an animal, or it could have been something else entirely. But Sam did the right thing by taking the possibility of someone being in danger seriously rather than simply ignoring what he heard. Number 9. Mark is known for sharing his fishing trips on TikTok and often spends his free time camping and enjoying the outdoors. But one summer night, a routine camping trip took an unexpected turn. On July 27, 2025,
I think you got the wrong camper. Hey there. I think you're in the wrong camper. Hey, did you stagger into the wrong camper last night? I don't know who you are. Somebody's probably missing you, though. We gotta get out and get ready. You're gonna have to go home. I don't know where home is. Hey, dude. Hey. I don't know who you are. You're in my camper. Whoa. What am I doing in your camper, bro? Well, I don't know. You must have slept a good one off. I am sorry.
Mark spent the day fishing before returning to his camper for the night. Everything seemed normal, and he eventually went to sleep without any problems. Sometime during the early morning hours, however, Mark woke up and realized that someone else was inside the camper with him. At first, he couldn't figure out who the person was or how they had gotten inside. He tried to get the stranger's attention and make it clear that he was in the wrong camper, but the man didn't respond immediately. After a few moments, the stranger finally seemed to realize what had happened. He appeared confused and acted as though he had no idea how he had ended up inside someone else's camper. Mark couldn't determine whether the man had been drinking, was intoxicated, or had simply made a genuine mistake. Either way, having an unknown person suddenly appear inside your camper while you're asleep is an extremely unsettling experience. Fortunately, the situation didn't become violent. The stranger eventually left, and Mark was able to remain safe. It may have been nothing more than a confused camper going to the wrong vehicle, but the incident could have easily turned into something much more serious. Being woken up by an unknown person inside your locked-down sleeping space is the kind of experience that can make you think twice about camping alone. Number 10. Kriko is a motorcycle traveler who spends much of her time riding through remote areas, camping in the forest, and exploring places far from the usual crowds. Her videos usually focus on the freedom of traveling by bike and spending time outdoors. During one particular trip, however, she started feeling uncomfortable almost as soon as she stopped her motorcycle. She was deep in the forest and looking for a safe place to spend the night next to her bike. After finding a suitable spot, she began setting up camp.
All my beautiful people, I hope you're doing well. Another day, another opportunity. I'm looking for a place to stay. I'm just here deep into the forest and I'm gonna stay somewhere and sleep next to my motorcycle. So I'm gonna continue and see if I can find a good spot. And as you see, we don't have that much snow left. It's almost gone. The roads are clear, which is nice though for me because I can speed a little bit more. What I'm looking for is a place where I can park my motorcycle a little bit in the forest, maybe just on the side of the road. And then I'll make a fire and stuff like that. And then we take my bivy bag and we sleep in there. I'm pretty happy. I think we're gonna stay here. And Ada comes here. I will lay next to Ada. We have a fire somewhere here. And that's it. But first of all, we're gonna go and collect some spruce branches because we're gonna lay on those ones because they're really wet on the ground. So I don't get cold. It's funny how my survival instinct is kicking in so quickly when you're out here. Like every sound, I'm like, ooh, ooh, ooh,
compare when on a lake or open field or something. It's not the same feeling there. I feel more safe.
She collected spruce branches to place underneath her sleeping bag, prepared her bivy cover, and started a fire to keep herself warm. Everything seemed normal at first, but as the evening continued, her mood began to change. She noticed strange sounds coming from the surrounding forest.
Where I will sleep tonight. It's a bivy cover for sleeping bag. So if it starts raining, this is great for that. But how on earth do you do this? Sleeping bag. This sleeping bag. The winter sleeping bag is okay. It's not as comfortable as... I'm gonna let it get some air. And then I'm gonna make the fire. And then I can just jump in and feel it a little bit. What do you think? Oh, it's so good. It's not weird. Weird sounds. I thought it was the wind first, but there's barely no wind here. Let's eat this. Okay, here's the thing. I can feel it in my guts. There's something with this place that doesn't feel right, and there's something is off here. So I'm gonna pack all my stuff and I'm gonna go back. I will talk about it later. I don't want to talk about it right now. I'm just gonna pack everything and go back. Oh. All right, let's do it.
At first, she thought the noises were caused by the wind, but the area was almost completely still. The sounds continued, and she started feeling increasingly uneasy. It wasn't something she could clearly see or explain, but she had the strong impression that something about the location wasn't right. Eventually, she decided not to take any chances. She packed up her equipment, put out the fire, and left the area instead of spending the night there. There is no way to know what caused the strange sounds or whether there was actually anything nearby. It could have been an animal, movement in the trees, or simply unfamiliar noises from the forest. Still, experienced campers often learn to pay attention to that feeling when something doesn't seem right. In a remote area, ignoring your instincts can turn a small warning into a serious problem. Kriko never found out what was making those noises, but leaving early may have been the safest decision she could make. Number 11. Zerato runs a channel mainly focused on cars, repairs, and mechanical work. But during one trip in Baja California, his video became much more serious than a normal repair story. He decided to take his RV out for a short road trip around the area. Before leaving, he had to get the vehicle ready because it had been sitting unused for more than 2 years.
It's all happening in Baja, Mexico. It was time for a vacation. Our home base is Vicente Guerrero, Mexico, in Baja, and it was time to get away for a little bit. So we fired up the old RV and I changed the shocks. I did a bunch of work to the RV to get it road worthy. The brakes, well, they looked good, 90%, but they hadn't moved. It hadn't been moved for over 2 years. So what happens to brake calipers? Even though your brakes look good, the calipers seized up on me.
I just put a fire out.
And they did not let go. And by the time I smelt it, and I'm like, okay, are they going to loosen up? I got to pull over. I don't like the smell. I get out, and I see flames. It's crazy. So that's what's coming up right here. And then I get into the repair.
He replaced the shocks and checked several other parts, including the brakes. Although the brakes initially looked fine, the long period of inactivity had caused the calipers to seize. While driving, one of the brakes overheated badly and eventually caught fire. Zerato noticed the smell, pulled over, and discovered flames coming from the wheel. While he was working on the RV and trying to fix the problem, another man stopped and offered to help. The man appeared to be a mechanic himself and knew how to deal with the seized brake.
I don't want to leave this out here because people drive right by and they steal stuff here. Todo bien, gracias. Todo bien. ¿Tú? Yo también. Pero los frenos muy caliente. Este lado, lo otro no es fuego. ¿Se pegó el sapo? Sí, hay un fuego. Porque de la pinza, caliper, no regresa. Sí, es duro. So ahorita yo pongo los pistons al dentro y voy a checar.
What started as a helpful roadside encounter suddenly took a very disturbing turn. While the two men were working on the RV, several other people approached. They weren't there to offer assistance. The situation quickly became violent, and the mechanic who had stopped to help was attacked.
No, los dos tienen que salir iguales.
Este es el problema.
Quítale la balata.
Ok.
Está.
Sí.
Ahora, agua.
Ok. Sí, agua o aceite o agua. Sí. I'll go for water. Okay.
Con agua.
Sí. Me. They're gonna rob my stuff. Lock the door. They took his car. They're chasing him. This is crazy. They're on the highway. They're beating him. He's running. They're taking his battery. Bella, go to the bedroom right now.
Why?
Go to the bedroom. There's some bad people outside. Go with mommy right now. Go to the bedroom.
What?
Yeah. This is insane. Taking his car. Oh, he's got a stick. Okay, baby. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. I took in my... Did I bring in my... I brought in my Milwaukee. No, there's people fighting outside. You gotta take the kids. No, we can't go anywhere. Take the kids. Okay, I don't think they're interested in me.
Zerato watched from near his RV as the men assaulted the mechanic and began taking his belongings. They also took his vehicle and chased him along the highway. At one point, they were even seen taking his battery. The situation was frightening enough that Zerato immediately focused on protecting his own family. His wife and daughter were inside the RV, so instead of confronting the attackers, he got everyone into a safer part of the vehicle and told them to stay there. It might seem strange that he didn't go outside to help the man who had just helped him, but considering that his family was with him and several aggressive people were outside, getting involved could have put everyone in even more danger. Eventually, the attackers left the mechanic alone. He had been badly beaten, but he managed to make his way back toward his vehicle. Zerato later gave him one of his batteries so he could get back on the road. The whole incident was difficult to understand. The mechanic had simply stopped to help someone repair an RV, only to be attacked and robbed in broad daylight. The fact that the attackers were apparently willing to hurt him over something as small as a car battery made the situation even more disturbing. Fortunately, Zerato and his family were not harmed. After everything settled down, he continued working on the RV, using some of the tools and help he had received from the mechanic, and eventually managed to get back on the road. The encounter was a harsh reminder that being in a remote area doesn't always mean you're safe. Sometimes, a completely ordinary day can change in seconds, and this roadside repair turned into an experience that Zerato and his family were unlikely to forget. Number 12. This encounter comes from Demonics, a team of paranormal investigators known for exploring old forests, ruins, and locations surrounded by dark folklore across the United Kingdom. On May 28, 2020, the team traveled into Dartmoor in Devon, England, to investigate Wisman's Wood.
Tonight we're heading into the depths of Dartmoor. Recognised worldwide for its folklore of hellhounds, demons and devils, we're entering a haunted forest named Wisman's Wood. Ranked as one of England's most haunted locations, it's an ancient place dating back to before 7000 BC. Druids would conduct rituals here, cutting symbols into the moss. Some markings can still be seen today. We will be one of the first paranormal teams to fully investigate this area. Most don't dare to wander the moors past sundown. Struggle and fear awaited us, for little did we know, we are about to experience major technical difficulties and lose our way. In our most remote location ever, surrounded by dark and tales of devils, we come to face what lurks on Dartmoor.
Is there enough more?
So now we got no direction, and we're f***ed.
The area has a long history of strange legends involving demons, devils, and other supernatural creatures. The woodland itself is also considered one of the more haunted places in England. The forest is extremely old, with a history that stretches back thousands of years. Ancient markings can still be found among the trees and rocks, adding to the mystery surrounding the location. The team wanted to investigate an area that few people would normally enter after dark. However, things quickly became difficult once they got deeper into the woods. Their equipment began having problems, and they lost their sense of direction in the darkness. Surrounded by thick vegetation, moss-covered rocks, and twisted trees, they were suddenly unsure of exactly where they were. Then, they heard a loud sound that seemed to come from somewhere nearby. It sounded almost like a heavy object or large rock moving across stone.
Dude, look. There are symbols. We're surrounded by symbols. Look, there's a circle one there. And there's a triangle here. There's a fucking triangle. I knew there were symbols.
Rightio, gonna do another ask called
Cool.
EMF. So if there's any spirit, apparition, any entity that is here with us, please would you make yourself known? You can use this device in my hand. You can make a noise. You can move something. Just please make yourself known for us.
That was a weird breeze. That was like the whole wood just moved a little bit. Like, I didn't feel a gust, I just heard the trees. Okay.
Yo, 196. And I heard
And
shuffling
that was
behind
just,
me.
yeah, it's like the woods are moving.
Yo, just got one on magnetic field.
So the trees
oh,
move.
-1.
They noticed strange markings carved or formed around the area, including shapes that appeared to resemble circles and triangles. The investigators decided to continue with their paranormal investigation and attempted to communicate with anything they believed might be present. They used different pieces of equipment and asked for any possible presence to make itself known.
Mad technical difficulties, like we don't know if we've just lost about half the footage we've just done. And what's annoying is we've caught the dowsing rods moving pretty mad. They answered yes to something being here, and then it said that there's only one entity with us. Stitch was doing those. And then we were doing the radio, and we got like a weird double voice thing, didn't we?
Had some odd traction.
Yeah.
Something coming over the signal.
Literally, but we're just pissed off now because we've lost like half an hour of footage.
Signal's going, nothing's uploading properly.
Yeah.
We can't. The only thing we can do is record, but we don't know if it's then being uploaded to our cloud.
Don't know
we
if it's
don't know
saved.
if it's being saved directly to the camera. And it's buggered pretty much.
We're getting dicked on out here.
Our footage isn't even playing back to us.
Yeah. Literally. So
Well, for now, we'll carry on with the radio thing and hope that this films. For fuck's sakes. Alright, so we're getting booped on. That light's dying as well.
Yeah, it's on
Our
3.
stuff just ain't working. But we're going to do another radio session. So if there's anything here, please don't mess with our equipment. And please, come speak to us.
Soon after, they noticed unusual movement from their dowsing rods. According to the team, the rods appeared to respond to their questions and suggested that there was a single presence nearby. But while they were investigating, their technical problems became even worse. Parts of their footage appeared to be missing, and they couldn't tell whether their recordings were being saved properly. Some of the equipment wasn't uploading, while other footage couldn't even be played back. They also reported strange interference while using their radio equipment. A distorted or unusual voice seemed to appear through the signal, although it's impossible to determine from the footage exactly what caused it. With their cameras and other equipment continuing to malfunction, the team became increasingly frustrated and concerned. Even their lights were beginning to run low, making the already dark forest even more difficult to navigate. Despite the technical problems, they continued trying to communicate for a while longer. They asked whatever might be nearby not to interfere with their equipment and attempted another radio session. Eventually, the combination of strange sounds reported EMF readings. Unusual dowsing rod movements, equipment failures, and navigation problems became too much. The team decided it was safer to leave the area rather than continue deeper into the forest. There is no way to confirm that the strange events were caused by anything paranormal. Equipment failures can happen, especially in remote locations, and natural sounds can become difficult to identify in complete darkness. Still, getting lost in an ancient forest at night while your cameras, lights, and other equipment begin failing is unsettling enough on its own. Whatever was happening inside Wisman's Wood, the team clearly felt that leaving was the safest decision. Number 13. 401 Files is a channel focused on investigating unexplained events and unusual sightings. Instead of simply presenting scary stories, the creator visits locations where strange incidents have been reported and tries to find reasonable explanations for what people experienced. During one camping trip, he recorded a strange sound that he couldn't identify. Rather than dismissing it or assuming the worst, he decided to return to the exact same location about a month later, this time completely alone, to see whether the sound would happen again.
What is that?
While exploring the area, the atmosphere was already unsettling. He kept his equipment running as he moved through the forest, paying close attention to anything unusual around him. At one point, something suddenly caught his attention. A strange noise came from the surrounding woods, and for a moment it was difficult to tell what could have produced it.
The microphone is that I can detach myself from the camera. They say that when they look at their friend's face, maybe it's their friend that's seen this creature first. You know, what the hell? Jesus. Lily, come. Lily, come. Did you guys see that? What the hell? A rabbit just literally ran. I thought it was Lily at first. Nearly jumped into my lap.
The recording was disturbing enough to leave plenty of room for speculation. It could have been an animal, something moving through the trees, or simply a natural sound that becomes difficult to identify when you're standing alone in a quiet forest. Despite the uncertainty, the investigator didn't immediately leave. Instead, he continued exploring and tried to understand what might have caused the original recording. During the return trip, he didn't experience anything nearly as strange. At one point, a rabbit suddenly ran through the area and startled him because he initially mistook it for something else. In the end, he didn't capture another unexplained event during his second visit. That doesn't necessarily prove anything about the original recording, but it does show how difficult it can be to identify sounds in the wilderness. Forests are filled with noises that most people rarely hear in their everyday lives. Animals can make surprisingly strange calls, branches can snap without warning, and sounds can travel in ways that make them seem much closer or farther away than they really are. For someone unfamiliar with the outdoors, hearing an unknown noise while alone in the woods can be genuinely terrifying. Even if the explanation turns out to be completely natural, not knowing what made the sound in the first place can make the experience much more disturbing. The original recording remains difficult to explain with certainty. It may have been an animal or something else entirely, but without clearer evidence, there's no reliable way to determine exactly what produced it. Number 14. Big Guy Camping is known for pushing himself with difficult stealth camping challenges, often choosing unusual places where most people wouldn't think of spending the night. For one trip, he decided to take that challenge even further by camping near the infamous Tinker Hollow Iron Bridge, a location surrounded by disturbing local stories. He arrived as daylight was fading and explored the bridge and nearby woodland before setting up his campsite. The location already made him uncomfortable, partly because of its reputation, and partly because he had grown up not far from the area and was familiar with some of the stories surrounding it.
Welcome back to the channel. This is Big Guy Camping and I am Big Guy. And tonight we're going on probably the most terrifying stealth camp in my entire life. We're going to be camping right here at the infamous Tinker's Hollow Iron Bridge. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, this one really does have me spooked to my core. This place is known for a lot of pretty terrifying folklore. And like any good story, everything is kind of based in truth that has some validity to it. We're going to be camping right there behind that concrete wall, right on the infamous bridge. This is said to be one of the most haunted places in all of the state of Ohio. And from past experience and growing up 2 miles down from here, that's truth. In a minute, we're going to get our stuff out, try to get set up. I'm going to calm myself down a little bit, gather my bearings, and move on from there. Battery on this camera is already dead. That fast. I know I've heard tales that can happen in places like this. Not that I'm saying that's what's going on. All I'm saying is that didn't take long. So I'm going to have to switch out batteries here in a few minutes, and it's already starting to get dark. And I can feel it in my chest a little bit. This is exciting, but it's also scary.
The bridge is said to be one of the most haunted places in Ohio, with several unsettling legends connected to it. Before settling down for the night, he explained that he was already feeling nervous about what might happen once the area became completely dark.
Back in about 1935, a group of 4 young adults came down here because they were going to go camping. 2 couples. Their parents knew where they were going. They came down here. Apparently they had set up camp. But whenever they did not return the next day, people went on a search looking for them. They came down here, they found the car. The car was abandoned with all of their belongings still inside. The gear that they had used was missing, nowhere to be found anywhere in this forest at all. And they were never found again. All 4 of those young adults came up missing and were never found. Now, of course, local story says that maybe they ran off together. maybe they had just decided to leave out. That was nothing common for that time, for people to just run away and start living a life somewhere else. But what are the chances of 4 young adults ditching the only means of transportation that they have, with all of their money, all of their belongings, without taking anything with them, including clothes and sentimental things from their home? What are the chances of that happening? So we're gonna do a little something different tonight. We're gonna use some Coop's honey mustard, y'all. My light just died. Just now. That light has never died. Look at that, there it is. That's the light that I use when I'm cooking. This thing is fully charged. Look at that. That thing just went off. It is not remote control either. Man, this place scares the hell out of me. There it goes again. There it goes again. Oh my God. All right. And now it's working just fine. That thing went out twice in a row. This thing has been on charge all day long. I put it on charge this morning so that I knew it would be ready for tonight. And now it's staying on. Yeah, this place scares the hell out of me. It really does. Especially now that this light is still on. It's staying on now. That's crazy.
One of the stories he shared involved 4 young adults who reportedly came to the area to camp sometime around the 1930s. When they failed to return home, people searched for them and eventually found their abandoned car with their belongings still inside. The 4 people themselves were never found. Their camping equipment was also missing, leaving behind a mystery that has continued to fuel stories about the location. There are different explanations for what might have happened, but none can be confirmed. As night settled in, strange things began happening around the campsite. While he was preparing food, a light that had been fully charged suddenly switched off. It came back on shortly afterward, only to shut off again. What made the incident especially strange to him was that the light had been charging all day and had no obvious reason to lose power. Eventually, it started working normally again, but by then the experience had already added to his growing anxiety. The darkness made everything worse. The camera made the area appear brighter than it actually was, but in reality, he was surrounded by woods with very little visibility.
I cannot see anything down there, and I am very scared to go down there. This camera is making it appear like it's light out here, but it is not. We are surrounded by woods, and it is dark. Oh my God. Man. At the end of the bridge, and on that side there. Jesus, man, calm down, man. Yeah, I think I'm psyching myself out over here. Alright. Yeah, it's like the darker it gets back here, the more I'm freaking out. Right up there is those bluffs. Alright, I'll go back to the spot and hang out. Man. Yeah, here's our bed set up, and my camera can wide out too. So this is where we're sleeping. I hope we're sleeping here. Oh, man.
As the night continued, he began hearing unexplained noises coming from around the bridge and the surrounding forest. He couldn't see what was making them, which only made his imagination run wild. He tried to convince himself that he was simply becoming overwhelmed by the atmosphere, but the darker it became, the more uncomfortable he felt. Eventually, he returned to his sleeping area and tried to settle down. He managed to stay for a while, but sometime around 3 a.m., he finally decided he had enough. Whatever was causing the uneasy feeling, He couldn't bring himself to remain there until morning.
At about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's just something about this place that I just cannot deal with. And I ended up leaving some of my stuff here, so I'm back now to grab it up. That's how fast I got out of here. I actually left things here. Look at this. I just tucked my sleep pad. I even left my cup, which is not something that I do. Man. In the daytime, this place is gorgeous. But something about this place just changes at night. And basically what I'm saying is, if you're somewhere doing something like this and you feel an absolute uneasiness that you cannot get over, you need to trust your instincts and get out of Dodge. And that's what I did last night.
He left the campsite in the middle of the night, moving quickly enough that he accidentally left some of his belongings behind. He returned the next morning to collect everything. In daylight, the location looked completely different. The bridge and surrounding woods appeared peaceful and even beautiful, making it difficult to understand why the same place had felt so threatening only a few hours earlier. There was no clear evidence that anything supernatural had happened. The strange light could have had a technical problem, and the noises could have come from wildlife or the surrounding environment. But the experience still left a strong impression on him. Sometimes, when you're alone in an unfamiliar place at night, your instincts can become the most important warning you have. In this case, Big Guy trusted that feeling and decided that staying until morning simply wasn't worth it. Number 15. Nick is a camper from Alberta, Canada, who regularly spends time alone in remote wilderness areas. His videos often involve challenging trips where he tests his limits and tries to see how little equipment he can use to survive outdoors.
All right, guys, welcome back to another adventure. I'm sure you can tell right off the bat, this one's a little bit different. I was hiking recently, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt slightly disoriented, slightly lost. And it got me thinking, what's kind of like the minimum amount of gear that I would need in order to, survive the night out in the mountains in the winter, right? So that's what we're gonna test out today. Just have a few things with me. We'll find a spot and show you guys what I got. But yeah, it's dark and I guess I'm lost.
During one winter trip, he decided to test the minimum gear needed to spend a night in the mountains. He headed into the snowy wilderness with only a few basic supplies and began setting up camp. Everything seemed normal at first. He found a place to settle down and started preparing for the night. But while repositioning his camera, something suddenly caught his attention. Whatever he heard made him stop what he was doing. Instead of continuing to record, he grabbed his equipment and quickly headed back toward his car. He then stayed inside the vehicle for more than 10 minutes with the engine running, listening and trying to figure out what was happening. Then, the sound came again.
Okay, yeah, so we've had a bit of a change of plans here. Little bit's happened since the last clip. I'm currently driving as far as possible from that camping spot. I'm gonna pull over and I'll let you guys know what happened. I'm out of here. I am out of here. What the heck is that? I'm like, I am done. I am done. I grabbed my stuff and I literally sprinted to the car. Like the hair, when people say the hair on the back of your neck stands up, I don't, I've never actually felt that before. I literally felt every hair on the back of my neck just, oh.
This time, there was no question about leaving. Nick packed everything up and rushed back to the car. His reaction was intense enough that he described feeling the hair on the back of his neck stand up as he ran. There is no clear evidence of what made the noise. One possible explanation is an animal. Mountain lions and bobcats are known to produce unusual cries that can sound surprisingly human and travel long distances through the wilderness. It could also have been a deer or elk in distress, or another animal making a sound he simply wasn't familiar with. Whatever the source was, the reaction was difficult to ignore. Nick had plenty of experience camping alone, yet the sound triggered an immediate instinct to get away. It was probably something completely natural, but hearing an unfamiliar noise alone in the dark, surrounded by mountains and winter conditions, can make even an experienced camper's instincts take over.